Hey guys, what's up? It's Brianna Raquel. Today I have a little bit of a different video. I've gotten a lot of questions in person and like on my social media and stuff about how I live with type 1 diabetes and stuff. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about my journey, give you guys some information that maybe you don't know about type 1 and stuff. So if you are interested in how my life is now, keep watching. So I'm going to be talking about a few things that I've learned, that I still have to learn, things that I've just picked up for my body and stuff over this past year with type 1. Let's get into when I'm low. Low glucose means I don't have enough sugar in my blood, and that means I need to eat sugar or carbs. I usually go for... I have like I can do like juices or like sweet tea is my favorite to drink when I'm low, but I'll do like low snacks. What are those? Oh, Jolly Ranchers. Jolly Ranchers are cool. Any type of like candy that's like syrup that can go straight to your bloodstream is good to have around. I always carry like little candies, and especially when I go to restaurants and I see like they have like little baskets of candies before you leave, I always take one just in case, and I have some in my car, my purse, my bag, sometimes my pockets. My friends even have juice and candy at their house if I'm low. For low snacks, I think I'd go straight for candy or fruit. I've been going for like mangoes, but I've just been feeling fruit lately, so I don't know. So because low glucose means I have not enough sugar in my blood. High glucose means I have too much sugar in my blood, which is a lot of the time, honestly. And that just means that I need to inject insulin and then level out and come back down to a good range for my blood sugar. Let's talk about symptoms. Symptoms of high glucose aren't as bad for me as low glucose. So when I'm high, I feel a little bit irritable, like a lot more tired than I would be if my glucose was at a normal number. Sometimes if I've been high for a little bit, or if I'm working, or honestly if I've just ignored it and like tried to get through my day, because it gets hard to have to stop what you're doing all day and inject insulin and blah blah blah. So if I've been high for a little bit, I will start to notice that like it takes me a little bit longer than usual to process things. Like I'm like a little bit like not like super confused or anything. Just takes me a second longer than normal. Sometimes if I'm really high, I'll get like stomach ache or something like that. Something pretty simple. But usually insulin takes about 15 minutes to go into your bloodstream, and so I never really feel like high symptoms that much. On the other hand, low glucose symptoms do not feel great at all, especially if you just are continuing to plummet. I can usually feel when I'm about to be like too low. I don't even know how I'm gonna explain the feeling, but it just like, you just know your body and you know, like, but I just like feel it in my body and I'm like, I think I'm low. And then I check my Dexcom, which is a glucose monitor that I attach to my body to send me readings of my glucose every 5 minutes. So I check that and I'm like, yeah, I'm like headed down. I'm at 83 and I'm headed down. So, and for those of you who don't know what a normal blood sugar range is, I'd say normal, and this is like the hospital standard I guess, is like 70 to 120. A lot harder to stay in that range than you think. Your pancreas does a lot and it's hard doing everything that it's not doing. Back to low symptoms. If I'm really low or I've been low for a little bit, I get very irritable and I get a little bit frantic just because I don't like the low feeling, especially if I'm out and about and I honestly don't have time to deal with my sugar. It's just easier for things to kind of piss me off. So that, and then like I'll get shaky in my hands, like I'll start like shaking like this. Oh, on one hand, I wish you could feel low glucose just because I want you to understand what I'm feeling, but then like that feeling is just the worst. I don't want you to feel what low glucose feels like. And it's not too bad, especially if you're only around like 70 or even like higher 60s. But when you get down to like the 50s and you're there, you're just like, okay, need some sugar. Yeah, we've talked about what low and high glucose symptoms are, what those mean, and we can talk a little bit about diet, which I think is the hardest part for me, just because I was diagnosed at a late age. They used to call it childhood diabetes, I guess. And a lot of people with type 1 would be diagnosed as children, but I was diagnosed at 18. I was diagnosed at a late age, and it's very hard to go 18 years eating a certain way, not having to worry about it, not even thinking about like, oh wow, like this food can affect me in some way. I never had allergies. I'm naturally a thinner person. I never had to worry about like dieting for weight purposes or anything. So I was really just eating what I wanted to eat whenever I wanted to eat it. And that was just my life for 18 years. And now I have to take that extra couple steps to think about what I'm eating, how many carbs it is, which is a whole other thing that we're honestly, type 1 diabetics and type 2 diabetics are expert carb counters. So if you see us like, yeah, we're like doing math in our head of like how many carbs and how many units our unit to carb ratio is. So I think mine is about like 1 unit is every 10 gram of carbs. It's a lot. It's a lot, and I didn't have a lot of time to really grasp anything, because it was like 1 minute you're fine, the next you're in the hospital, and now you have to worry about everything when you eat. Anyway, back to diet. So things that don't really skyrocket me, or I don't really need insulin for, are like proteins or fats or something. So I'll eat like a lot of like meats and cheeses and stuff, but being in LA and just in general, like a lot of people eat vegan all the time. Like even if they're not vegan, it's just, there's just a lot of vegan restaurants and options here. So sometimes that isn't in my diet, and something like soy, if it's like a substitute or something, will kind of put me on the higher side. Yeah, so I eat like meats and cheeses and stuff. I stay away, well, I'll try, stay away from like the just the bad things, like white bread and like pasta and like white rice and stuff. Like you guys wouldn't believe how carby a lot of this stuff is. Yeah, so I try to stay away from that. One of my favorite foods is bread. So I struggle a lot with that one, like especially at a restaurant. I used to eat bread and then be full for my meal, and like that was just how I did things. Like that was just me, like going out to eat with my family. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna need a box in advance, because I would fill up on the bread because I love bread. Bread does not love me back though. And then I also love fruit, but fruit is super carby and everything breaks down into sugar, so that's also hard. But yeah, as far as diet and stuff, obviously you need carbs to have energy and stuff. So if you're not eating carbs, you might be tired, I guess. I don't really know about all like the nutrition stuff like that, but I know a lot of people do like the keto diet for diabetics just because it's kind of pretty much diabetic friendly. But yeah, you know, like I still eat the things I want to eat. I just have to account for it with insulin and stuff. And I think a lot of people kind of take that a little too far. It's like, oh, you're diabetic, you can't have that. Well, yeah, I can. I just have to, you know, take insulin to cover it and stuff. And that, I think that's the biggest mistake people that don't have type 1 make. I'll talk about a little bit about my experience right before I was diagnosed. So my mom, little backstory, my mom actually has Graves' disease, which is with her thyroid. And so she got that figured out when she was younger and stuff. And I thought, oh, well, I'm having these symptoms. Like I lost 10 pounds, and for me that's a lot because I'm already thin. So I lost 10 pounds in like a month, and it's harder for females to lose weight anyway. So I was like, that doesn't seem healthy that my leggings are big for me all of a sudden. So and then, oh my god, I was drinking so much water. I used to go Chick-fil-A all the time because I love Chick-fil-A. I went with my one friend and I was like, the largest size you have, give me that. And then before we left, I filled it up all the way again. Like I was drinking so much water, and like we were going through bottles and bottles and bottles, and I was like, I'm wasting so much plastic, like, but I'm incredibly thirsty all the time. Like I don't know what's wrong with me. And then like it was coming right out of me. Like I was just having to go pee so many times. Like I think I got up like 3 times a night because I had to pee. And like I was like, this is not normal, like there's something wrong. And so I assumed that it might have been thyroid just because of my mom. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll go get some blood work done. Hopefully it's just, you know, like I need to take a little medicine or something, and I'll get my body back on track and stuff. So I went and got my blood work done. Then I just kind of went about my day, and I remember I was laying in bed before I went to sleep one night, and I was looking up my symptoms, and I was on like WebMD, which just don't do, but in my case it was right. It was like diabetes, and I was like, what? Like, no, it's not diabetes. Like, the only thing I didn't even know there was 2 types before I was diagnosed. Like, I only thought of type 2, which is like the hereditary one, and it's like you got to change your eating to, you know, put your levels back. And I was like, I mean, I eat like pretty healthy. I live in LA. I'm confused. Like, they're joking, this is why I don't go on WebMD, and they were right. I remember, oh my god, I was getting ready to go get some waffles with my grandpa because he was in town, and I love waffles, and I'm gonna go get some waffles. And then I got a call for my results, and they were like, yeah, your sugar is really high. I think you should go to the hospital if you don't feel well. And I remember after I got out of the shower, I felt so faint. Like, I had to sit down for a second and was like breathing because I literally felt like I was going to pass out. And so I was like, yep, all right, to the emergency room we go. Of course, I learned I hate emergency rooms. I guess I was super pissy. I was hungry, so I was hangry. They were taking forever and stuff, and I was like, this is not a big deal, like, whatever. Like, they're not even right. Like, I don't know. They're just gonna tell me it's allergies or something. And so I didn't take it seriously and stuff, and then they, you know, they finally brought me back. They hooked me up, and they were like, yeah, so you're a little bit in DKA and stuff, and I was like, I'm in what? What DKA stands for diabetic ketoacidosis, which just means that you got a lot of sugar in your blood, and that means that you have ketones in your blood now, which is not super healthy for diabetics, because if you stay that way for a long time, you can be in a coma, which I feel very lucky that I went to the hospital when I did, because if I had waited like even a week, man, I was sick. And I honestly, I waited longer than I should have to go get checked out, because I was like, no, I'm fine, I'm invincible, which is like every teen's mindset, but I really felt that way, and I was sick. So go get checked out. If you think something's wrong, you're probably right. You know your body more than anybody, so go get checked out if you feel like something is off. And it doesn't hurt to get checked up, like, it really doesn't. So, but yeah, they brought me back, and they just laid on the news, man. Man, they were like, this is a forever thing. You're gonna have to do this the rest of your life. And I was like, what? I'm 18 years old. I don't know what my life even looks like. I don't know what my future looks like. I don't even know what I want my future to look like. And now I have to deal with this. No, I was scared. I was scared. I was confused. I was like, honestly, I didn't feel good. I was hungry, and they wouldn't feed me, bro. They were like, no, we can't feed you anything just yet. And I was like, no, y'all need to go get me some Jello or something. Like, I've seen Grey's Anatomy, go get me some Jello. And they just wouldn't. And so finally they transferred me to the ICU, and I was like, is it that serious? And apparently to, you know, be on insulin drip, you have to be in the ICU. All right, at least the bed is more comfortable. Fine, I'll be in the ICU. And yeah, I was super pissy. I feel bad for the nurses. That honestly was like the most painful night of my life. When I was in the ICU, they finally wanted to feed me, but it was like chicken broth, like liquids only. And I was like, what the hell is this? This is not food. This is soup, or like soup without the stuff. It was literally just like salt water. And I was like, okay. So no, y'all need to go get me something. Painful night, because they came in every hour and they pricked my finger. And I have baby hands. Like, I don't need like the hard like prick through my skin, but they have a standard hospital thing. So like my fingers were dead. Like, they were numb. I had like little marks and stuff of the holes and stuff, because they came in literally every hour the entire night to prick my finger, and then they adjusted the insulin, and then they came in every 4 hours to take my blood. By the end of the night, I looked like a junkie. Like, my entire arm was bruised. It was black and blue, and oh god, it was awful. I think at one point, I think it was like 4 in the morning, and my mom flew in that night. She got there that night, and crazy. But yeah, she was by my side and my sister's on the other side, and I think at one point I just looked over and I'm like, Mom, I can't do it anymore. Like, they're pricking my fingers and taking my blood, and like, yeah, oh God, it was just an awful night. The next morning, I think they were like, you still can't have food, sorry, here's some more chicken broth. And I was like, so when can I actually eat something? Because I was so hungry. Like, look, salt water was pretty good by then. I was hungry. Yeah, and so they just continued to check up on me, and then they have at the hospital, they have like a I guess a diabetes educator, and they weren't available that day, so I had to stay there, and they moved me to like another room. I wasn't in the ICU anymore, which was cool. And I just remember that day my mom was just she's a researcher, so she was just doing all the research that she possibly could, and talking to my dad, who wasn't able to come out just because we have a dog and stuff. And yeah, so we were just talking to my dad and stuff, and I was just watching Hallmark Christmas movies. But it was November, so it was acceptable. That's fine. Yeah, so I was watching those nonstop, and I know that annoyed my mom, but hey, I wanted to watch Hallmark Christmas movies. I'm gonna watch freaking Hallmark Christmas movies. And I spent that day, they finally, I think for lunchtime or dinner, I can't remember, they finally gave me like solid food to eat, and I was like, yes, so happy. And they gave me a menu, and I was like, oh, okay, like, wow, I didn't know that this is how hospitals are. So yeah, I picked up my food and stuff, and they brought me my food, and I finally got to eat. But then I had to stay another night because the diabetes educator wasn't available. So I stayed another night, which I wasn't happy about. And the next day, the diabetes educator came in, and she taught me everything, and I swear I didn't hear anything. Don't know what happened, like I didn't hear anything, or it didn't register that I was listening, because like I felt like I was just somewhere else, and I was just like, this is not happening. But anyway, I learned as much as I could in the hour that she was there and stuff, and just kind of being thrown in the fire, which isn't fun. You know, I had my family there with me to help learn, and my mom, honestly, she was taking notes, because I'm glad, because I didn't hear a lot of what she said that day. It was hard, but I had good people and like good energy surrounding me and stuff, and I was very scared to leave the hospital, because like that means I have to inject myself. Like, I've never given myself a shot. I don't know how to do it. They want me to give my shot. Like, are they insane? I don't know how to give someone a shot. Especially me. I don't like shots. Like, I hated flu shots as I was growing up and stuff, and the needle's like this big, but still it's a needle and you feel it. Like, dang. Yeah, I was super scared to leave the hospital. Yeah, the first couple weeks, man, like I couldn't even go to auditions. I was like, I'm out. Like, I can't. I have to rest. I have to get my life under control. I have no idea what's going on. So it was pretty hectic. The first couple of months, really, like I just was trial and error with like, and everything that happened, like, I don't know, I was too low, no, that was too high, that doesn't work, I was too high, like, can't eat that, or, you know, like, finding my ratio, too, because everybody's body is different, and plus, I was in the honeymoon phase, which means my pancreas was still kind of working, just, you know, not fully, so I needed to help it. But on, you know, some days she was like, yeah, you know, I'll come to work today, yeah, and then other days she was like, well, I'm clocking out early, so good luck. And I was like, what? Like, I can't control it because it's so unpredictable. It was really hard. I've learned a lot over the year. I can just inject myself and it's fine. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to wear my Dexcom out in public and stuff. Yeah, and I get a lot of questions, and those can get tiring and stuff. I'm having to explain everything, how I found out, how I'm doing now. But hey, people are curious, and a lot of people, including myself and everyone around me, did not know what type 1 is. So I've been trying to like educate all my friends. If I meet another person, I'm like, yeah, this is part of who I am. I'm not ashamed. I'm type 1 diabetic. Here's what it means. Here's what you can look out for. You start to realize how small of a world it is, and a lot of people do have type 1 too. So I meet a lot of people who also have type 1, and or someone who knows someone with type 1 and stuff too. So I think for my first EP, I had a release party that also doubled as a fundraiser, and I raised money for Beyond Type 1 to go to research for finding a cure and stuff. So I've always wanted to be involved and like be an advocate for type 1 just because so many people are uneducated about what it is, and they think automatically of type 2, and I'm like, no, there's a whole other type, and that's me. And so many other people. It's been a journey. It's going to continue to be a journey. Today I have to go to a pump training. I've never been on an insulin pump. I have no idea. I'm scared. I'm really scared. I'm nervous. I'm excited. Feeling a lot of different emotions right now. Hopefully it helps me manage it a little bit better, and I guess I will inform you guys. I guess I'll keep you updated on how the pump training went and how I'm liking it. This is my story of how I'm type 1 diabetic. Alright guys, I think that was kind of a long video, and I know I ramble and sometimes I talk fast, so if you made it to the end, thank you guys so much for listening. Honestly, it feels good to talk it out and talk about how far I've come. I'm proud of myself, and yeah, I think I've gotten stronger over this past year. So thank you for listening, and I will put some links in the description of if you want to get involved or you want to donate or something to find a cure. There's some great organizations and stuff that you can do your research on, and I know there's this big crisis, especially in America, about insulin prices being way too high. I mean, I went to go pick up my prescription for 2 vials of insulin, which is like nothing for some people. She told me the price, and it was like $600 without insurance. And I'm like, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, which it be like that sometimes, like, and I know it does not take that much to produce insulin. Like, it's really a big problem. So if you'd like to get involved, I would love if you did. You can click on some of the links below and see how you can. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening and watching this video. I hope you learned a little bit about type 1 diabetes and me, and stay tuned for my next video. I will see you guys soon. Bye.
You keep on saying you want me, but baby, you don't really show me. We sitting here all nice and cozy, but when I'm with you, I still feel lonely. You say you wanna be in this, but I'm at the bottom of your list. If you out with another, we can't trust each other, so I'm gonna have to dismiss this, yeah.